To start, migration is defined as, quote, the process through which people voluntarily or involuntarily leave their habitual place of residence. Christianity is the foundational religion in both countries, in the United States and Chile. And with that being said, the call to response for Christians with regards to migration is to, quote, promote the universal common good, which is the common good of the entire human family. Judaism and Islam are present in both these countries as well, where they have their own. And kind of the key differences that arise in the United States and Chile are with their policy, with the U.S. being a lot more lenient in terms of letting migrants and other immigrants in. These differences have resulted in a major impact in both the quantity of immigrants coming into the nations and also the type of treatment that they receive.
The United States is an attractive country for migration, as many migrants are fleeing countries with political turmoil and violence. The political and religious freedom and also economic opportunities for migrants and refugees draws them to the United States. The United States, similar to Chile, it also receives hundreds of thousands of migrants each year. The United States also is constantly dealing with migration policies, and at times these policies can negatively affect the migrants. This is visible in the United States, as the average asylum case in the immigration court takes more than 4 years to be completed. Migrants and refugees coming to America face great challenges during their journeys. As shown in the upcoming interview with Matt Rivers, he interviews Santiago, a refugee from Venezuela who lost his mom after she drowned from trying to cross the Darien Gap. The origin country of migrants and refugees differs between the United States and Chile, as in the United States, refugees from Cuba and El Salvador make up the greatest number of those from Latin America coming into the United States. Many migrants and refugees have also fled their homeland for various issues, including violence or political turmoil, and have entered the United States looking for better quality of life and increased opportunities. Lastly, the history of the migrants are different, as in the past during the Cold War, the United States received many migrants and refugees due to political and economic instability.
Of that trip. We spoke to another man named Santiago. He's still actually here behind me at the border wall on the other side of that wire. He told us he was traveling with his mother for basically a year after leaving Venezuela, and when they were coming out of the jungle into the Panamanian side after leaving Colombia, something awful happened. His mother actually died. Listen to him.
Estamos cruzando para poder seguir del otro lado de la selva. Yo la quise ayudar, pero no fue posible. No, ella se me ahogó. El río se la llevó.
Y ella murió. She died.
Sí.
Para seguir hasta este punto es como un homenaje a tu mamá.
Es un homenaje a mi mamá y un homenaje a cada uno de los migrantes que se han quedado en la selva del Darién, porque no solo fue mi mamá, fueron más personas.
I think what you hear when you talk to these migrants, and it's a privilege as a reporter, I think, to be able to listen to these stories, what is really interesting for me as a person is to understand that all of these people here have individual stories to tell and trauma that they've gone through to get to this point. So often when in migration, Lindsay, and you know this, when it's discussed in the United States, it becomes a political issue. It becomes, we forget, I think, that these people are all human beings with individual stories and reasons for being here. And I think when you have the opportunity to just look someone in the eye and say, where are you from and why did you do this? Why are you here? It really reminds, at least it reminds me, how much of a human story this is.
Now with the differences, in the first one, we have the origin countries the immigrants come from. In the case of Chile, mostly they come from Venezuela, but also from Argentina, Ecuador, Peru, Haiti, etc. Then, with the causes of migration, in the case of Chile, they usually respond to economic factors and security factors. And after all, with the history of migration, in the case of Chile, although there were migratory waves in Chile in the 20th century, The migratory crisis was not a phenomenon until 2018, because that was the year when the immigration rates rose to very high levels, noticing a new challenge that had to be faced by our institutions.
Okay, so our main takeaway of the judge section has to do with, due to a similar political and social context that we see in both Chile and the US, refugees are usually met with a level of hostility from the people in the communities that are receiving them. As such, migrants are not seen as entitled, like others, to participate in life in society, and it is forgotten that they possess the same intrinsic dignities as any other person. Here's where religion, or the importance of religion, comes in. Now, Christianity, or Christian faith, provides a religious and moral basis for the acceptance of strangers and outsiders to society. And in both countries, the religion, Christianity, holds a significant influence and can be used as a source to do good.
So, if we analyze the role of the Church on promote hospitality to migrants and refugees, we could mention, for example, on the US scenario, the Catholic Church for Mexican immigrants gives a sense of belonging through the practice of the same rituals that they did in their pueblos within the new community. It also encouraging to gather this community and make them participate in religious and neighborhood activities, volunteers work, and the arrival of new social leaders who make decisions on parish and neighborhood issues.